busy broadcast week. The Monday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show is indeed a busy and big one. We have a massive update that started as an exclusive Dan O'Donnell Show report yesterday. An update on the search for the missing 3-year-old boy, Elijah Vue. It is the result, I think, that everyone knew was sort of inevitable, but still a tragedy nonetheless. Plus, the big debate is tomorrow night. Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. We will have a complete preview, plus what the polls are saying about the state of the race. Suffice it to say, brat summer for Kamala is over. Her polls are crashing as the sugar rush has faded. Plus, the Packers in Brazil suffer a loss but avoid an even bigger one. And hey, as much as we're worried about the status of our quarterback for 3 to 6 weeks, at least the Bears quarterback threw for a grand total of 93 yards, even though their defense does look pretty good, and they did get a win. All of that coming up, plus at 9:20, 13 minutes from right now, it is our honor and pleasure to welcome Matt Walsh, the great conservative writer, podcaster, and filmmaker. His brand new movie, Am I Racist?, which looks absolutely hilarious, comes out this Friday. We will join Matt live on the Dan O'Donnell Show coming up at 9:20. If you would like to join this latest foray into broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and let's face it, far more likely broadcast competence, the AdventNows.com talk and text line is open, 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, DOD@iHeartMedia.com. Watch the show streaming live via the Dan O'Cam at Dan O'Donnell Show on X. You can also watch us Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. And our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. The iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway contest is done, as the festival is coming up in less than 2 weeks. Have no fear. I have it on very good authority. The Fall Fortune Cash Contest will be back. $1,000 on the line each and every hour of the Dan O'Donnell Show. Before you know it, probably later this month, if not early October. So you always get chances to win. We are always constantly bribing you just to listen to me. Although it has not been officially confirmed, investigators are working on the theory that the remains of a small child found in a Girl Scout camp, Camp Manitou Two Rivers. This is in Manitowoc County. The remains of a small child found there on Saturday. A hunter was apparently in the area and came across what was identified later as a human skull. A human skull that was of a young child. Also, other assorted bones and a diaper. What's notable about this is that this camp is very close to the previous residence of Elijah Vue, as well as his mother, Katrina Bauer, and a man who is being described as Elijah's caregiver, Jesse Vang. Vang and Bauer were romantically involved. Now, you might remember this story. Elijah disappeared on February 20th. Vang said that he had woken up and taken care of Elijah, who was sent to live with Vang for, quote, disciplinary reasons. Bauer said she sent Elijah to live with Vang to correct some bad behaviors of a 3-year-old boy. Vang said he went down to take a nap at about 10 a.m. When he woke up 3 hours later, Elijah was gone. That was the last he was ever seen. Massive search for Elijah gets underway. In fact, I can confirm that the Girl Scout Camp Manitou was searched twice and searched extensively. However, due to the size of this park, of this woods, it was just impossible to search the entire thing. And I am told that the remains found Saturday were found in a, quote, very remote area. So again, while this camp was searched twice, the remains were missed. The skeletal remains have not yet been identified. There will be DNA testing, there will be dental record matches, but the working theory is that these remains are in fact of Elijah Vue. It is unclear right now the status of the cases against both Bauer, the mother, and Vang, the boyfriend/caregiver. Both have been charged with felony child neglect because, remember, without a body, it is very, very difficult to charge homicide. The theory that investigators from the state, from the Two Rivers Police Department, from every investigative agency that was looking for Elijah and piecing this case together has always been that Elijah was murdered by Jesse Vang with some form of involvement by the mother Bauer. That this was not a case of extreme child neglect where Vang goes to sleep for 3 hours and Elijah walks off, but rather that Vang had killed Elijah, possibly while spanking him. And I say spanking not in the sense that those parents who still do spank childs give him a rap on the butt, but actually beat Elijah to death, or there was some other murder. Whether or not this was an intentional homicide is still going to be investigated. Now, with a body, there can be more pressure put on Vang and on Bauer. Okay, we know what happened. Just confess. Give the rest of this little boy's family some closure. Let them know what happened to Elijah, and maybe we'll... Remember, Wisconsin doesn't have the death penalty. So that's typically a big bargaining chip. And in case you think that the death penalty, which I'm still up in the air on, not for the reasons you think, as to whether or not I still support putting criminals to death. The reason I don't support it is it costs an absolute fortune to keep prisoners on death row, and they have constant appeals and pardons. It's actually cheaper to keep them in prison. Nonetheless, typically you're not going to be executed until 20 years after the crime you committed, after the murder you committed. I don't want to get into a debate on the death penalty, but Wisconsin doesn't have that leverage. In fact, if there is a conviction of first-degree intentional homicide, the punishment is a mandatory life sentence. The only discretion that a judge has is whether or not to impose any release at any point. Without the possibility of extended supervision is a typical sentence if a murder case goes to trial. Even if there's a plea bargain, even if there's a guilty plea, it's usually life without the possibility of extended supervision. I can tell you as well that right now at the body recovery site, the Wisconsin Regional Crime Lab and Crime Scene Response Teams are there. I imagine the Wisconsin State Crime Lab is also on the scene. The Division of Criminal Investigation from the Wisconsin Department of Justice is apparently leading up this criminal investigation. Folks, I don't want to be the one to bear bad news. And as soon as I posted this on Facebook yesterday as an exclusive story, it was actually kind of fascinating to see the response. It immediately, and I'm talking within 5 to 10 minutes, had about 1,000 shares on Facebook. So this story spread very rapidly. And a lot of people contacted me directly via message and say, why are you reporting this? Nobody else is reporting this. To which I would respond kind of half sarcastically, yeah, that's what an exclusive means. I had knowledge based on sources that I've developed that nobody else in the media has. Now the Sheriff's Department in Manitowoc County has confirmed, in fact, that human remains have been found. They have been found in the exact place that I reported them. I actually had people in my comments section on Facebook, and this got a lot of retweets, but it really gained traction traction on Facebook. There were a number of Hmong community groups that picked it up. Elijah, Jesse Vang, they were Hmong. They're Hmong, of Hmong descent. So this is obviously a very heavy interest in the Hmong community in Wisconsin and really across the country. These got picked up and people were saying, well, this isn't true. You don't know this to be true. And I'll give them some slack because they don't understand how reporting works. That yes, this news was probably going to come out at some point. I happened to learn about it. Near as I can tell, the body was discovered Saturday morning. There was a very heavy law enforcement presence at that camp pretty much ever since. And finally, the sheriff's department has confirmed that the body of a small child, very quickly on Saturday, a doctor did confirm that the skull that was found was that of a small child. Again, there is no confirmation that this body is that of Elijah Vue, but given the proximity of this to a former resident of the mother and the boyfriend who just happened to be the last person to see Elijah alive and whose story didn't really make a whole lot of sense when he told it, the working theory is that, unfortunately, this body is that of young Elijah. Coming up next, Matt Walsh joins us exclusively to talk about his new film, Am I Racist?
We're less than 2 weeks away from our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Taking over T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st. Stream only on Hulu.
Get tickets while you still can now at AXS.com.
The human soul requires a minimum daily requirement of entertainment. Welcome to MGM Rewards. With the greatest live shows on earth, they have all the entertainment you can handle and more. Book now and make the most of your Vegas getaway at MGMRewards.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. I've been a big proponent of Lynch for a while now. Here's why. They're literally a family dealership and have been since 1957. That's increasingly rare in the dealership world today, but the Lynch family employs 500 plus people who are all dedicated to taking care of you. They've got a wide selection of new and used vehicles, extended service department hours for early drop-offs and late pickups, and most importantly, they're proud supporters of our local communities and schools. They also stand behind what they sell with Lynch-certified used vehicles, including a 168-point inspection to determine eligibility, an unparalleled 90-day or 3,000-mile certified guarantee, and a 10-day 500-mile exchange policy. And when you pair this with the Lynch Protected program, they cover your paint, your windshield, and your tires. It's easy to see why you should consider Lynch. Check them out today at shoplynch.com.
At Affordable Dentures and Implants, we want you to go ahead and smile. Right now, new denture wearers get a free upgrade to our premium denture for the price of an economy. That's an average savings of $700. Don't wait. Get the smile you've always dreamed of. Call 1-800-DENTURE to schedule your consultation today. Offer ends October 7th. Restrictions apply. Go to AffordableDentures.com to learn more.
Go ahead and smile.
For anyone living with everyday aches and pains, there's a lot of things you can try. You know, tough it out, bite the bullet, grin and bear it. Or you can try something that has helped so many other people, Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that addresses the inflammation where pain starts. And Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain for a short time. It helps reduce or even eliminate it all day, every day. Wherever you're hurting, your back, neck, joints, or muscles, in about 3 weeks or less, you'll see a difference and rediscover what it's like to feel better and live better. So if everyday pain is affecting your life, don't go with the mind over matter approach. Try Relief Factor instead. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Brand new film from Matt Walsh comes out this Friday. Am I Racist? We are joined on the phone right now on the Dan O'Donnell Show by one Matt Walsh. Sir, it's an honor to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
So the film is called Am I Racist? And you went on a journey of self-discovery, even going undercover as a man who just wants to find out more about his inner whiteness. The trailer looks hilarious, Matt, but you're making a deeper point about liberalism and just how remarkably anti-white it's gotten. What was the thing that sort of shocked you most making this film?
There was a lot that I found surprising. Not so much, more the degree of it. Like I kind of knew what the DEI race hustle is all about. I knew that, but when you see how vicious some of this stuff is, and you're in the room with it, it still manages to be shocking. But the thing I think I found to be most surprising, it's not so much the grifters themselves, the so-called DEI consultants and anti-racist experts and all those that we exposed in the film. It's not so much them, but it's the seemingly normal people who are not getting paid, who choose to subject themselves to it. And we have a few different scenes in the movie where I'm in these kind of struggle sessions, these anti-racist struggle sessions with a bunch of white people, usually like upper class white people who sit there and get berated about their whiteness and are subjecting themselves to this kind of treatment. And I guess that's the thing that's most surprising is to see those people and what they're willing to subject themselves to.
You actually infiltrated one of these struggle session dinners where women are paying exorbitant amounts of money to basically be called racist for an entire dinner. If you don't mind my asking, how did you manage to do that? Because I was so jealous. That's Race to Dinner is what they call it. They've been doing that for several years now. And when we first decided to make this movie on this topic, that was one of the first things on my wish list was to get into a Race to Dinner. And my first preference was to sit at the table and be a part of the dinner. And we kind of called them up and found out that, well, you have to be a woman to be at the dinner. You have to be a white woman to be at the table at the dinner. Well, but sir, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, what is a woman? Aren't you the guy that they would want at that table as possibly a woman?
Well, exactly. It was almost like we could have gone a different direction and made this a sequel to What Is a Woman. And but it turns out you have to be you have to be an actual woman to be at the dinner table, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we found another way in, and we discovered that, well, if you want to be a waiter serving these people, you can be a man. In fact, they welcome white men to play that role, and that's how I got in.
That is actually kind of remarkable. You also managed to land an interview with Robin DiAngelo. And in the trailer, she even says, well, you can't be too careful when you're doing these interviews. How did you get her to let down her guard? She, of course, for those unfamiliar, is the author of White Fragility. She is herself a white woman, but she's sort of one of the grand poobahs of this hyper focus on race in academia. How were you able to sit down with her and sort of penetrate her defenses, if you will?
I think it has. Well, we paid her, and one thing we do in the film is all of these DEI experts that we interview, or if we attend a session with them, we pay them because they all charge kind of exorbitant fees. Of course. And we put the amount we pay them on the screen. We tell everybody this is how much they wanted just to talk about racism. So I think that they get the dollar signs in their eyes and they want the money, and they're willing to overlook maybe a lot of things that would be otherwise they'd see as red flags. And that's why they're there, I guess.
Ultimately, with this film, obviously, you want to get as many people as possible to see it. You want them to laugh. You want them to think about where we are, where the left is in society today when it comes to race relations and just how this has turned into big business. Ultimately, though, what do you want the takeaway for your viewers to be when watching this film?
I want them to walk away kind of realizing the same thing that I did while making the film, which is that there's an agenda. There's a group of people out there who have a vested interest in stoking racial guilt and resentment, hatred, suspicion. So to the extent that you see any of that in society, it's largely because there's a powerful force out there that wants to soak that and maintain it because there's a lot of money, power, and influence in it for them. And if not for those people, if those people would just shut up and go away, then I think that for most Americans, most Americans in modern America, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be an issue anymore. I don't think that most people would go around obsessing over racism, thinking about systemic racism and all that kind of thing. I think people have to be brainwashed into focusing obsessively on those issues.
Well, and the profit motive is just what's so nauseating about all of this, that you can actually make a career and a very lucrative one out of peddling this idea that America is this horribly racist place, and the only way that we can combat it is by going to race to dinner. Or talking with some self-described DEI expert, which I love that you passed yourself off as a DEI expert and all you did was show these people a little card. Is that literally all it takes to be a DEI expert?
Well, yeah. Well, but in fairness to me, I did take a class, and the class was about 30 minutes on the internet, and we paid a few bucks to get my license. And that's all it takes, because look, DEI is not. It's not like it's a real academic discipline. It's not a real profession. Okay, it's not like becoming a licensed dentist or something. It's all fake. So anyone can claim the mantle of being a DEI expert, and as long as you show that it's ideological. As long as you show ideological alignment, with the left on racial issues, then they'll accept you. They'll accept you as an expert.
Well, Matt, thank you so much. I know you're very busy promoting this film. We really do appreciate you coming on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Good to talk to you.
He is Matt Walsh. The film is called Am I Racist? It follows his very successful theatrical debut, What is a Woman? This time he is tackling the DEI race hustling industry as only he can. Tickets are available now at thedailywire.com, at Matt Walsh's site, pretty much everywhere. The film is in theaters this Friday, September 13th. I would strongly encourage everyone to check it out. Watch the trailer, because I'm telling you, you will laugh out loud. It is that funny and it's that insightful just in that 2.5 minutes. First of all, it got me to want to watch this film. I think my wife and I are having date night this weekend and we're going to see this movie. Matt Walsh on the show. Dan O'Donnell coming back after this.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I'm Kamala Harris. Here's a few things I believe. Middle-class families, like the one I grew up in, they want common sense solutions. You want lower prices and lower taxes. I believe you want to just not get by, but you want to get ahead. We must create an opportunity economy where everyone has a chance to get a car loan, buy a home, start a business. And I believe we can make that happen.
Kamala Harris's plan? Bring down costs by cracking down on corporate price gougers. Make homeownership more affordable for families. A middle-class tax cut for 100 million Americans. And make sure billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share so you can keep more of the money you've earned.
And instead of being focused on the politics of the past, we need to be thinking about the future and how we make it better for families like yours. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Frank Daniels, our Madison goldsmith, has an idea.
Bring him in.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
It's great to see you, Frank. What's your idea?
It's a new company policy.
Let's hear it.
You know the world-famous Kessler's warranty?
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed. It's just that simple. Even if you lose a diamond, including the center stone, we'll replace it. All maintenance is free forever. Yes, it really is that miraculous.
Every time I hear that warranty, it blows my mind.
I propose we have a jewelry cleaning policy that's as amazing as that warranty.
What would it say?
Bring us your jewelry and we will professionally clean it. While you wait, for free. You can come in as often as you want, and we don't care where you bought your jewelry. The only thing that matters is that you want it to look amazing again. We want that too.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. I vote yes. The motion carries.
Congratulations, Frank. Your idea is now company policy.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
If the first thing on your to-do list is to start a to-do list, if the snooze button has fallen off your alarm clock, or if your favorite day is tomorrow, you're a procrastinator. And your friends at Mr. Holland's Home Services remind you that cold weather is fast approaching. Is your furnace ready for frigid days and frosty nights? Yes, we know you're not thinking about winter when it's still on the warm side. But let's face it, planning ahead isn't one of your superpowers. So just take a quick minute to call Mr. Holland's and secure a brand new, high-efficiency heating and cooling system today. You may even qualify for payments as low as $69 a month with approved credit. You'll be set for winter, and you'll finally have time to read that book on how to stop procrastinating that you bought in 2016. 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Tired of being put off by the cold? We can help.
Biden is dead set to get as much done as possible before leaving office. That should frighten every American. Why? Because nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds have yet to be spent. When Biden pushes these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here, letting you know that a surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for Biden's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text SECURE to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
The one thing we know for certain is the United States is going to be one intense place this fall.
The Tucker Carlson Live Tour is coming to Fiserv Forum September 16th.
So we thought, what better time to hit the road and see the country? And we're going to this fall. From coast to coast, we're going on a live tour with a bunch of friends of ours who you will recognize. We're going to be live on stage responding to everything that is happening in real time.
Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Sambrosa.com and brought to you by Swan Bitcoin.
You hear more and more about identity theft in the news every day. That's because so much of your personal info is out of your control, like your insurance provider that has your social security number and your favorite retailer that has your payment details. If they get breached, your information's vulnerable. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code PLAY at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Top of the morning to you.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
Top of the morning to you.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Top of the morning to you. Are you giving us the house, man?
We will say top of the morning to Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden. Coming up about an hour from now, we do thank the great Matt Walsh for joining us. And I'm not just saying that because he came on the show to plug his movie. It really does look hysterical. As soon as it was announced, I got the press release and said, wow, this is great. Going undercover to bust the race hustling industry is something that I think is long overdue. Walsh is sort of like, think of him as like a woke man-bunned Borat. And that's what this film is. He literally does not go in disguise at all. I mean, Matt Walsh is very well known in conservative circles, but I think in the broader world, he's not nearly as, ubiquitous as obviously the Borat character was almost 20 years ago. So he doesn't really put on a disguise. It's actually funny in the trailer. All he does, it's sort of like Clark Kent and Superman, where all he does is take off the glasses. Well, Walsh keeps on his glasses and he just puts on a man bun wig. And then he's suddenly woke Matt Walsh. It's actually kind of hysterical. Meet the press yesterday. Bernie Sanders unwittingly gave up the entire game when it came up to Kamala Harris's constant flip-flopping on issues. Kristen Welker asked Bernie about Kamala's progressive bona fides and saying, Bernie, she is abandoning pretty much every closely held principle, everything she has ever said. Ban on fracking, ban on plastic straws of all things. Anonymous aides have come out and said, nah, she doesn't believe that anymore. So Welker asked Bernie Sanders whether she's still actually a progressive.
Kamala Harris as a progressive. She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
That is about as big an admission as you will ever get out of any lib. That whenever they say something that would identify them even as a moderate, well, they're just being pragmatic. They need to win an election. They can't say what they actually believe. I have been saying this since I first started this show way back in January of 2017, that my absolute favorite time, not just of the year, but my favorite time of life is close to an election, because everybody, from the mainstream media to liberal politicians, everybody starts sounding exactly like me. Yes, we need to get tough on the border. Kamala Harris, do you realize, is now even using Trump's border wall in her ads. She's talking about how tough on illegal immigration her administration will be and how tough as borders are. Oh, wait, she was never borders are. She was. She's standing in the shadow of Trump's border wall, which raises the question, when exactly did she get down to the border to stand in the shadow of Trump's border wall? Of course, the big debate is tomorrow night, and this comes amid polling that has just frankly not been good for Harris. We will get into this in much greater depth, as well as how the return of the illegal immigration issue in the form of Venezuelan gangs taking over an apartment complex, first in Colorado and then in the Chicago area. And now we've got a member of that exact same gang arrested for assaulting a young girl in Prairie du Chien, very, very close to Congressman Van Orden's house. That's why he's joining us next hour, and why that really does favor Trump. Ultimately, the Kamala Harris bounce was not an illusion per se. And there are a lot of people on quote unquote our side who are saying, well, it's fake. The media is just concocting these polls. They're cooking these polls. To some extent, that might be true. The joy over Kamala Harris was real in liberal circles, but it wasn't joy for Kamala Harris. It was joy for the idea that Democrats weren't going to lose every single thing there was to lose. Remember, the Democratic Party didn't replace Joe Biden because they thought his brain was too fried. Even though, did you see this report from Breitbart? Biden has reportedly spent 40.3% of his presidency on vacation. Since announcing that he wasn't going to run again, that number is something like 85%. Raising an even bigger question than anything else, not just who's running the country now, but is the office of president really run by a committee? It didn't seem like it when Trump was president, but certainly under the Biden administration, I think it's beyond apparent that we don't have a president. We have, as I have long said, a secret cabal of 30 and 40-something they-thems who are actually in charge of the White House. But the Democrats didn't replace Biden because they thought he was unfit to run or that he was, somehow unfit to be president. Because remember, nobody seemed to have an issue. After that disastrous debate on July 27th, the narrative immediately shifted to Biden can't run again. Biden cannot. Nobody was saying, hey, if his brain is too fried that he can't even stand upright and talk for 45 minutes, maybe he shouldn't be president. Nobody seemed to care about the actual governance of the United States of America. All they really cared about was whether or not they could win. And not just the presidency, but also the Senate, also the House. Would Biden's obvious cognitive decline give Trump not just a governing majority, but an electoral mandate that would allow him to do essentially whatever he wanted? Remember, Senate terms are 6 years, so he could have fundamentally, and Republicans could have fundamentally reshaped Congress for almost a decade. The midterms probably, just as they always are, and just as they were in 2018, would have brought things a little bit back to Democrat control of both branches. But the fear was that even in state elections, the presence of Biden at the top of the ticket was going to just so demoralize Democrats that a bunch of their soft supporters or soft voters wouldn't show up. And it wasn't just the presidency. Now, that was a fate that was unthinkable to Democrats, to be sure, that Donald Trump would reclaim the presidency. But the real concern and the real reason that Democrats started turning on Biden, first in private and then very, very publicly during the Republican National Convention, when the leaks started to come out that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were both saying, okay, Joe, it's time to go, they were all concerned about their own electoral safety, that Biden on the ballot was going to be a George McGovern, Walter Mondale style blowout for Donald Trump. He would take state houses, governorships, state legislatures, everything there would be to win, Republicans would win. That was the calculus. That was the fear. So when Harris gets into the race, there's not so much joy, but relief. The feeling I liken it to. Have you ever been speeding on the freeway and you are going just 90 miles an hour in a 70, and you see a cop in one of the little turnarounds where they like to hide, and you just blow past this dude? Maybe not at Tyreek level speed. They're not going to throw you on the ground and handcuff you 2 hours before a football game, which was some of the more bizarre video I saw out of the weekend, was Tyreek Hill being handcuffed 2 hours before a game. And then the dude goes out and scores an 80-yard touchdown. It was sort of like Scotty Scheffler. Was that at the Masters, where he gets cuffed and taken to jail and then goes out and shoots like a 65 or some ridiculous score? You're going 90 down the freeway, right? You are dead to rights. The cop is going to pull you over. Like, oh, man, you're already trying to budget for the ticket that you got to pay. Oh, man, there's going to be 4 points off of my license. And you blow past the cop and you realize he doesn't move. He's not going to pull you over. Do you ever feel like that rush of just relief? It's almost like your heart starts beating super fast and you just feel this just sense of relief wash over your entire body. Now imagine 25 million people feeling that exact same thing when it became apparent that they were no longer going to lose everything there is to lose. I came up with that analogy myself, producer Dave, and I came up with that analogy literally within the last 15 seconds. That was totally off the top of my head. Thank you very much, Dave. Occasionally, we do achieve broadcast excellence and not just mediocrity, and I think that was one of those moments. So it was like that feeling of relief, that just rush of relief that 25 million people got, and they were so excited. They're telling pollsters, yes, I'm going to vote for Kamala. Oh, my goodness, I am so excited. Well, now that's worn on. The bandwagon effect is a very real thing in politics, where people, especially in polls, will tell you they're going to vote for the candidate that they believe to be winning, which is why a lot of pollsters have actually come up with the idea, hey, who do you think your next door neighbor is going to vote? That's a much better way, because they'll think analytically. They won't think emotionally. Yeah, I'm going to vote for Kamala. Yeah, for sure. That's all worn off. And now the fundamentals of this race, the fact that we are in an affordability crisis, the fact that now Venezuelan gangs are taking over apartment buildings, you've got 20,000 Haitian migrants being shipped over to Springfield, Ohio, where they're apparently catching cats and eating them. This is local news reporting. Cats and seagulls is apparently a staple of the illegal immigrant Haitian diet. The first thing I thought of was, did you ever see the musical Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, movie with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter? One of her songs is called The Worst Pies in London. And she sings about how she makes these meat pies, but they're the worst pies in London because she can't get any meat. I'm not going to spoil the rest of the play/movie for you, how she actually gets meat. It is very much involving the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, but she says the shop next door is doing very well, but she's noticed all of the neighborhood cats have disappeared. And she said, no, I would never do that. And let me tell you, though, those cats is quick, meaning she was just too slow to catch cats of her own. So when all of this is coming in, when all of this is impacting the American electorate and the sugar high, the brat summer is worn off, what remains is the fundamentals of this race. And what remains is the very difficult ask of voters. Not quite as difficult as, hey, we need you to vote for this 82-year-old cognitively impaired dude who's going to be 86 and possibly not even alive at the end of his second term, but a difficult ask to say, okay, here's the candidate of change. This is hope and change a la 2008 Barack Obama. Well, she's the sitting vice president. She was in charge of the Biden administration's efforts at the southern border. She bears the responsibility of all this. Donald Trump, who was president and did offer seismic change from the Obama administration and would offer seismic change from the Biden-Harris administration, he's actually the candidate of change. Coming up next on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we name the unhinged liberal of the day. Stay tuned. We've got more conservative thought, not just talk, on the way.
Dan O'Donnell is coming right back.
Make American Family Field your space to grow relationships with clients, employees, and prospects with Brewers season memberships for the 2025 season. Your corporate season membership with the Brewers grants exclusive discounts on premium meeting spaces, invitations to networking events, and one-of-a-kind opportunities to grow your business at the ballpark. Learn more about Brewers season memberships for businesses at brewers.com/ticket plans or call 414-902-HITS.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
This weekend at Fletcher Arms, food, fun, and firearms. Come join us for an end-of-summer party at our Fletcher Arms Lake Country location in Pewaukee this Saturday, September 14th, starting at 11 a.m. It's our biggest sale of the year. Enter to win a Fletcher Arms gift certificate, play some games, enjoy some food and beverage, and come hang out with your Fletcher Arms staff. We'll have something for the whole family, including a child safety event for the little ones. See you this Saturday, September 14th at Fletcher Arms in Pewaukee for food, fun, and firearms.
At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have finance options for new exterior remodeling projects for almost anybody. And if you have the right credit, we'll beat your bank's rate.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns. Window, screen, and door repair. Now, some guys out there, all they want to do is sell you a replacement, installation, etc. And truth be told, we want to sell you a replacement window, door, and Craftsman quality installation too, when you're ready. A lot of times customers call or come in with the notion that they have to replace their windows or doors. But in many cases, all they need is a repair or a hard-to-find new part. And that can save the customer a bunch. Now, sometimes a replacement is what you need. Sometimes not. When you come here, you'll be sure to get an honest answer. And it may end up saving you a lot of grief, too. This is David Wilhelm. The reason we've been around and thriving for so long is simple. We take care of our customers. Call us or visit Lisbon Storm Screen and Door on 51st and Lisbon. We'll be able to take care of all of your window and door needs, and we'll try to help you repair before you replace. Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Find out more at lisbonstorm.com.
Between market volatility, inflation, global unrest, and the presidential election, there's a lot going on. Take control with help from Annex Wealth Management. Have a plan built that matches up with your investment and retirement goals. Annex does it as a fee-only fiduciary with unbiased advice. Annex offers financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button. It's time to put things in order. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. AnnexWealth.com.
Hey, it's summer and it's time to inspect your roof. Does it look damaged or faded? Are the shingles missing? Let Klaus Roofing System by Buck Buckley, BBB award-winning service, take care of you and your family. For a free roofing consultation, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Hello, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University, where we help small businesses grow. Tune in to WISN every Sunday at 11 a.m. and visit EWHUniversity.com to learn more. That's EWHUniversity.com.
Show classical conservatism and contemporary style. Coming up next hour, a New York Times Siena College poll sends shockwaves of fear, disbelief, and, well, insanity through the left. Which brings us to one of our most popular segments here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. That is, of course, the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy. All white people are racist. Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
We are actually going to do a last-second switcheroo. Our unhinged liberal of the day is Jennifer Rubin. Was going to be Tim Walsh, but I'm going to save that and maybe talk about that for a second. Do both? Do both? Well, I figured since I was talking about the polls, let's do old Jen. She is the quote-unquote conservative blogger for the Washington Post. She hasn't been a conservative since 2012. She is about as far left as it gets. And 14 hours ago, she tweeted this, quote, "Imagine obsessing over polls in the 1933 German election without covering Mein Kampf. That is what's going on now." Yes, she really tweeted that. And yes, she is being dead serious. Jennifer Rubin, your unhinged liberal of the day. I wanted to have Tim Walsh as the unhinged liberal of the day, but I want to continue the disingenuousness of the Democrat Party. They switch their positions constantly, and nowhere was this more evident than the fact that who have they spent the entire weekend celebrating the endorsement of Kamala Harris? Which endorsement? Nope, not Liz Cheney. Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, producer Dave, has apparently come out and said in a statement, not that he's endorsing Kamala Harris, but he hates Donald Trump so much he is going to vote for Kamala Harris. Now, I'm old enough to remember the Bush administration, the Bush-Cheney administration.
inhaling particulates. If you don't clean out your ducts, you will be fresh out of luck. And air, clean air, healthy air.
Jason, what is happening? Merle's really whipping the crew into shape. You know he's a squirrel, right? Seth, people throughout history have respected leaders of all kinds. Like Squirrel Alexander the Great. You know, I think you're underestimating him. Really? Watch.
Capital cleans your ducts with high-powered trucks.
Because Capital believes you deserve to breathe clean, healthy air.
We destroy bacteria and annihilate allergies.
He's making them do push-ups. Yeah. Huh. See?
If you haven't had a duct cleaning in 5 years, schedule your Capital duct cleaning today at callcapitalcares.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Ample sunshine today. Might have a little wildfire smoke in the air for that hazy look. High near 82. We should fall to the upper 50s overnight tonight with a relatively clear sky, and then 84 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer custom-made faux wood and real wood blinds and shutters, cellular shades, Roman shades, bamboo shades, exterior shades, and more, all at factory direct prices. Don't pay too much for new blinds. Go to Blindster.com.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or a candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that, only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there, but not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
You hear more and more about identity theft in the news every day. That's because so much of your personal info is out of your control, like your insurance provider that has your social security number and your favorite retailer that has your payment details. If they get breached, your information's vulnerable. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code PLAY at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hard to believe the kids are back in school already and fall is at hand. This just might be the perfect time to visit the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield to say goodbye to summer and hello to fall. Take the Holy Hill exit from Highway 41, turn west, and then take a right at Wolf Road. The Sawmill is just around the bend on your left.
Fast and accurate, fair and balanced. Milwaukee's home for Fox News Radio. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Smart speakers get a whole lot smarter when they're playing News Talk 1130 WISN. Just ask Alexa or Siri to play WISN Radio and bask in the glow of insight and enlightenment.
Officially over for Kamala Harris, and now we're just skipping fall. It's the winter of libs' discontent. And the tip of that spear, Nate Silver. Yes, the same Nate Silver who in 2012 was the guy who was saying, okay, Dems, it's okay. Pay no attention to the daily Gallup tracking, which is showing Mitt Romney up 6 and 7 points. Pay attention to my forecasting model. It shows that Barack Obama is going to win this election comfortably. Guess what happened? Barack Obama won the election comfortably. Nate Silver, in his electoral model, has Donald Trump's chances of winning the Electoral College and thus the presidency now at 64%. He has a nearly 2 in 3 chance of winning, and this has nothing to do with national polls. It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with a grand total of 3 states. Trump is overperforming 2016 and 2020 in Georgia, in North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Assuming everything else is pretty much unchanged from 2020 and even 2016, Donald Trump will win the presidency. The path to the White House is about as easy as it gets for Trump. Win Pennsylvania, win North Carolina, and win Georgia, and you are at 270 plus electoral votes. Arizona doesn't matter. Wisconsin doesn't matter. Nevada doesn't matter. Michigan doesn't matter. Kamala can win all of those states. She can do remarkably well in Wisconsin. She could win Wisconsin by 10 points, and it wouldn't matter if she loses Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the linchpin, and you can see, where is Donald Trump going this week? Pennsylvania. Where was Kamala Harris? Just in Pennsylvania. This is the ball game. And Donald Trump, according to Silver's model, has a better than 2 in 3 chance of winning Pennsylvania. Now, I say this not to get to anybody to rest on their laurels, because that means Kamala Harris still has in 33% of the models that Silver is running, she wins. And it should be noted that the only modeler out of the big ones, and this is different than polls. So when I say 66% chance of winning, what they do is what I always say to do. Take a look at realclearpolling.com's average of polls, and what they also do will weigh the answers to questions like, who do you think is better on the economy? Who do you think is better? They add in leaners, people who are leaning toward one of the candidates, and will initially tell a pollster, well, I have no preference. The pollster will then usually follow up, okay, but if you had to pick one, who would it be, Harris or Trump? Trump is doing very, very well on that second question. Trump has also been doing very well amongst independents. Trump is also, according to the most recent polling, doing very well in the upper Midwest. Guess where this election is going to be won or lost? The exact same place the last 2 elections, also happening to feature Donald Trump, were won and lost. The upper Midwest: Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Ohio is no longer a swing state. And in a sign of swinging fortunes for the Republican Party, state-level polling actually has the Ohio Senate candidate up. Bernie Moreno is now leading the incumbent Democrat Tim Ryan, and Dave McCormick is also up in the Pennsylvania, or at least tied in the Pennsylvania Senate election. I will also point to the fact that a New York Times Siena College poll, which again might be an outlier. Right now, Nate Silver's Electoral College map, his model, is an outlier. The Economist, 538. Nate Silver is no longer affiliated with 538. His contract wasn't renewed when Disney had a huge round of layoffs in, I think, spring of 2023. So he's now independent. He's running his own model, but just assume it's almost the exact same thing as the 538 model, although 538 is showing Harris winning with about 280 electoral votes. With these new polls kind of coming in, there's a new Harvard-Harris poll out today. Shows a 50-50 tie. Marquette University Law School poll of Wisconsin comes out on Wednesday, but the New York Times Siena poll, which shows a 48 to 47% Trump lead, is leading to panic. It is like 1929 and Democrats are stockbrokers at the top of the Empire State Building. This is how serious and this is how devastating this poll is to them, which sort of raises an interesting question. One round of bad polling has got them this upset, has got them this convinced that doom is inevitable. Man, that does not seem like a healthy way to go through life. Nonetheless, the RealClearPolling.com average of polls now shows Kamala Harris up by about 1.5 to 2 points nationally. Folks, that correlates to probably Trump winning 280 to 290 electoral votes. Joe Biden won the presidency in the national popular vote. He won the national popular vote by about 4.5%. He barely, and I mean barely, won in the Electoral College. 45,000 votes in Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia. That was it. 45,000 people in those three states vote for Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden. Trump is finishing up his second term. That's how close it was. On September 9th, 2020, Biden, in the Real Clear polling average of polls, had a 7.5% lead. In 2016, believe it or not, the race had actually tightened significantly, and Clinton was only leading Trump by about 2.5%. Now ask yourself, does this election feel more like 2016 or 2020? In both elections, voters clearly wanted change. In 2016, it was sort of a natural cycle. It's just very difficult for one party to capture the presidency for 3 straight elections. The only time in recent memory that it's happened was Ronald Reagan's Vice President George H.W. Bush won in 1988. Reagan was so phenomenally popular, though. He won 49 out of 50 states. And I'm convinced if Mondale wasn't from Minnesota, which was the one state that voted for him, we would have had the first and perhaps only time in American history where it was a unanimous skunking. It's an interesting thought experiment. What if Walter Mondale was actually from Wyoming? Wyoming would have gone for Reagan regardless. He would have won 538-0. Actually, I think it was 535. I'm not actually sure if Washington, D.C. yet had electoral votes. So bear with me on that. What I can tell you, though, is if Trump actually is ahead in the popular vote, that probably puts states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, and Minnesota back on the map. Not coincidentally, where was Kamala Harris that really raised some eyebrows last week? New Hampshire. I'm not saying Trump is winning the popular vote. In fact, there's probably a 75 to 80% chance that Kamala will win the popular vote. What I am saying If she wins the popular vote by 1 or 2% like Hillary Clinton does, that translates to a similar electoral college landslide. And in as divided a country as we are, what Trump won in 2016 is probably as close to a landslide as we're likely to see either way in 2024. If Trump loses the popular vote by 4 to 5%, chances are he's going to lose, but as we saw, it will be very tight. Anything less than a 4 to 5% popular vote win by Harris almost assuredly equals a Trump electoral victory. This is why they're so panicked, and this is why I am convinced Silver is an outlier, because he recognizes this and he understands that national polls, while they're not totally meaningless, you have to really drill down into the state polling data and also those subsequent questions that pollsters ask. Most notably, who do you think is the candidate of change? In this New York Times Siena poll, an overwhelming majority of pollsters, of people who responded to the pollsters, said they want the candidate who is going to bring about change. This is an election where people are tired of the status quo. In 2020, they were tired of the status quo because of COVID-19, right? They thought Trump bungled COVID-19. They didn't like this idea that they had to stay in their houses, that the kids were out of school, that businesses were shut down. All of this, by the way, being done by libs. They didn't like the idea that there were riots in the streets and all of this racial unrest. Again, riots being conducted and essentially allowed almost entirely by libs. But it all factored into this resentment of the current people in charge, and it was a change election. 2016 was a change election because the people, A, just didn't like Hillary Clinton very much, and B, didn't want Democrats in charge for a third straight election cycle because Barack Obama was nowhere near as popular as was Ronald Reagan. 2024 is a change election because people are putting the economy, as they almost always do, front and center. But what's the number 2 issue? Illegal immigration. Which candidate will deliver meaningful change every single time? It's Donald Trump. A bigger issue for Harris than I think anyone realizes, and I'm almost totally positive. I was listening to the interview with Nate Silver on the Clay and Buck show last week, and he sort of alluded to the fact that white males, college educated as well as non-college educated, are flocking to Trump. Young white males are going to Trump. And I think you can almost tie this into the Matt Walsh, Am I Racist movie that's coming out. People, especially young males, are tired of being constantly told by one political party that they are the reason that America is so terrible. They are oppressive. They're saying, hey, wait a second. I can't find a job. The job I have doesn't pay nearly enough for me to pay my own bills. And somehow I'm responsible for keeping black transgender women down. Is this really the argument you're trying to make for me? Donald Trump and the Republican Party are saying to young men, you are not the enemy. You are valued members of society. It's the same thing in the Rust Belt that happened with older white voters, I think, 8 years ago. You had for 8 years the first rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Okay, you are all racists. You are now the enemies of this new progressive coalition simply by virtue of your skin color and whatever other demographic group you might find yourself in, rural, non-college educated. What they were telling those voters is you're, to quote the Kendrick Lamar song, Kendrick is now announced as the Super Bowl halftime headliner. To quote Kendrick Lamar, what Democrats were saying about those white rural voters is they not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Now they're saying the exact same thing to young males, and they're wondering, hey, where did all the young male support go? The coalition is shrinking, especially in those states that they need to win, Wisconsin, Michigan, and especially Pennsylvania. Joe Biden won Pennsylvania because he was able to convince white, male, college and non-college educated voters alike, just enough of them, that he was Scranton Joe. He was one of them. He's a moderate. He's not going to be a radical leftist. Kamala Harris has a much more difficult time making that exact same argument. In Georgia, I believe that Kamala realizes she's not going to be able to get out the massive support in Fulton County, which includes Atlanta, to take over the overwhelmingly Republican outstate areas. North Carolina, I'm convinced by the fact that neither campaign is targeting it, is off the map. Trump has already won North Carolina. Now, don't misunderstand. Please, if you're listening to me in North Carolina, get out the vote. Get out as early as humanly possible. Vote, tell your friends to vote. Vote and work like you're 10 points down. But North Carolina doesn't strike me as a swing state anymore. In fact, neither does Arizona. And a big reason why just might be the resurgence of illegal immigration as a big, big, big issue in this election. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, classical conservatism, contemporary style. It's coming right back.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting, and today I've got some fun new announcements. First, after years of confusing you with our website name being remodelandpaint.com, we finally own colorwheelpainting.com. It may sound silly, but I've been waiting 20 years for this domain name squatter to let it go. As they say, patience is a virtue. Second, with colorwheelpainting.com comes a whole new colorwheelpainting.com website. You'll love it. It's easier to navigate, offers great photo galleries, a wealth of information, and I invite you to check it out. Third, the grade most painters go through twice. We've opened a wallpaper installation division. Headed by Sherry on our staff, we're now offering our top-notch customer service, communication, honesty, and value-driven pricing to install wallpaper and murals for you. Color Wheel Painting. We just keep getting better. colorwheelpainting.com.
For over 30 years, Colwell Investment Group, the retirement specialist, has been operating under a fiduciary standard of care, always putting our clients' interests first. We'd like to do the same for you. Give us a call at 262-522-4040 and listen Saturday at 10 a.m. to the Retirement Clinic.
Fall is in the air. You know what that means. Hi, this is Terry Lodwick, owner of All American Window and Door. It's time for football. Our favorite green and gold team wins championships with teamwork. Win your remodeling championship with Team All-American. Replacing your windows, doors, or siding? We'll tackle your project and ensure a carefree remodeling victory. All-American Window and Door on Mequon Road in Germantown. 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
Life is precious, but it could all get taken away in an instant. That's why a 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply belongs in your home. It's got everything you could need during a crisis. With over 2,000 calories per day, there's enough to go around during times of social unrest, government crackdowns, or God forbid, an attack on the homeland. The food lasts up to 25 years, ready whenever disaster strikes. We've seen mass panic in our lifetimes before. Some were not that long ago. So don't take your family's safety for granted. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and save $50 on your 4-week emergency food kit. And My Patriot Supply will ship it for free as fast as humanly possible. Get your 4-week emergency food kit now at MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
correction. Tim Ryan is not the incumbent senator. It's Sherrod Brown. You'll have to excuse me. Tim Ryan was the last Senate candidate in Ohio. He was a representative who ran against J.D. Vance. You see, folks, there's just so much in this overstuffed turkey I call a brain that sometimes just sort of slips away from me. Yes, Sherrod Brown is the incumbent Democrat senator. Bernie Moreno is currently leading him in at least a couple of state-level polls. We'll see how another incumbent Democrat is faring in a swing state. Eric Hovde, Tammy Baldwin. That matchup appears to be, and if I'm going to ballpark it, I think Tammy Baldwin is probably +4, +5 right now, just based on the incumbency. All of this, folks, is going to matter only if there isn't the expected flood of Republican voters that I don't think Democrats are quite ready for. Now, you might be saying, Dan, what about all those mail-in ballots? Mail-in ballot requests are, at least right now, and this is across the country, North Carolina is also being used as sort of a test case. Mail-in ballot requests are way, way down. Moreover, in the states that have partisan registration, you register to vote as a Republican or a Democrat, the percentage of ballots being requested by Democrats compared to 2020 versus Republicans shows a big advantage for Republicans. Democrats still have the advantage, but not nearly by as much as they did in 2020. I do say all the time, you need to get out of the 1% fraud margin. That there are just questionable votes. And in case anybody would love to fact check me, PolitiFact Wisconsin, what up, boys? There is fraud in every election. Is it outcome determinative? In some elections, yes, it has been. There was one in North Carolina, special election for the House of Representatives. Republican candidate was actually the beneficiary of massive mail-in ballot fraud. In fact, there is always a questionable number of ballots that come in. The goal is always to, as President Trump says, make it too big to rig. And this is why we will again, as soon as early voting starts. And I'm going to get your mind focused on this right now, ladies and gentlemen. As soon as it starts, we're going to have a massive kickoff event to the state's largest early vote drive. My goal is to get every single person in this audience, and folks, thanks to you, our flagship station, WISN, for a second straight month, had the highest share of listeners, the highest percentage of people listening to WISN in the entire country. 14.1% to some FM radio station in, I believe, Memphis, Tennessee at 14.0. We can now say for a second straight month, we are the most listened to radio station in America relative to our market size. We have a very sizable audience. We have a very sizable number of people who are taking part in the state's largest early vote drives. My goal is to get every single one of you. If you want to request a mail-in ballot, do so. Do you know you can get a ballot mailed to you and then you can turn it in during early vote? This is perfectly fine. You can submit the ballot in person. It's your ballot. You got the chain of custody. You can mail it in. You can check the status of your mail-in ballot. It's really very easy. In fact, the states that Republicans have been doing very, very well in, most notably Florida, are the states that they're taking advantage of early in-person voting and especially mail-in voting. Remember, the reason I do this, I hate mail-in voting. I hate early voting. That's why I want to see Republicans dominate it, so Democrats are begging us to go back to same-day voting like, you know, the rest of the Western world. Coming up next, the Western world, I don't think it's much of a secret, is under threat from unfettered unfettered illegal immigration. That issue was thrust right back into the center of the presidential debate over the past week with first the takeover of a Colorado apartment building. The owner of that building is now being forced to sell because it's just been taken over by Venezuelan gang members. As much as the national media has been trying to say, no, there were no Venezuelan gang members taking over the apartment, local media was saying, oh yes, there were absolutely Venezuelan gang members. Same thing happened in Chicago. And then over the weekend, you have reports of outrage from Springfield, Ohio, a town of 60,000 people where suddenly 20,000 Haitian migrants have showed up. And the local populace is noticing, hey, our cats, ducks, and pigeons are starting to disappear. Another city impacted by unfettered illegal immigration, it seems, of all places, Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. We'll discuss that with Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden next.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Anti-Procrastination Officer Brian Wickert. Most homeowners and home shoppers have heard the Federal Reserve will cut rates by 0.25% in mid-September. Well, I have great news. When it comes to mortgage rates, it's like the cut has already happened. That's how markets work, and it means there's no reason to wait to either start or resume your home search because most 30-year fixed-rate loan scenarios will now have a rate and APR that starts with the number 6 instead of 7-point-something. The already lower mortgage rates also mean the refi window of opportunity is open for folks who bought their homes earlier this year or late last year with a rate in the mid to high 7s. If you can save $1,000 a year in payments and spend less than that in refi loan cost, do it. AccuNet can also typically offer a genuine no loan cost refi, which makes lowering your payment a genuine no-brainer. Don't wait. Click on the blue button today for a no-pressure refi checkup or to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Considering remodeling? Don't know where to start? Hi, Scott Reamer from Reamer Remodel, Wisconsin's leading residential remodeler, specializing in kitchens, bathrooms, lower levels, and additions. Our process is simple, yet proven. Architecturally trained designers, master craftsmen, and a project management team that's dedicated to every job, providing detailed updates daily, in writing. Want to learn more? Visit us online at reamerremodel.com. That's RIEMER remodel.com.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. And you know, there's more to being a local Wisconsin bank than perfectly pronouncing Oconomowoc or Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? But rest assured, at Great Midwest Bank, we understand the local community and economy because we're a part of it. At GMB, we provide customized lending products that others just can't offer. Experience a hometown banking difference. Head to greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent. And what balloon sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better. And that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Any exterior remodeling company can give you a lot of good reasons to get a new roof, siding, windows and doors, or masonry work. Aesthetic appeal alone or just resale value help it all make sense. But I'm compelled to continue to tell you what sets Semper Fi apart from the rest. What you're going to get from Semper Fi is a reputation that is backed by an undeniable stack of proof that we are who we say we are. Our character is guided by a level of trust and accountability which not only holds our teams together,
but also keeps our reputation intact. And ultimately, that means leaving you satisfied. So when you're about to make that big investment in your home, isn't that what you want? This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands. Welcome to Jeep Adventure Days at Five Corners. Hi, it's Roman Weininger inviting you to select and save on select Jeeps, Rams, and Wagoneers. You select the vehicle and you select the savings, the biggest savings ever. Select with rebates and discounts on select models. A new Jeep Wrangler and Grand Cherokee get up to $10,000 off. A new Wagoneer, $9,000 off. And get $8,000 off on a new Ram 2500. We need your trade. We'll give you top dollar for your trade. Trade today. We service small trucks, medium trucks, and big trucks. Trucks are us at Five Corners. Visit us today. Highway 60 Cedarburg.
The next generation ultimate double hung window from Marvin, featuring never before seen hardware, operation, performance, and design, is an impressive product. With the flick of the sweep, the bottom and top sashes can both be opened to let air in. And when one sash is open, the other can be locked, a feature that no other double hung window on the market offers. And in vent mode, the sash can be opened up to 4 inches while remaining locked, giving you added ventilation with security. In my life, I've seen plenty of windows, but I've never been as excited as I am to offer Marvin's next generation ultimate double hung window to you. This is David Wilhelm. See for yourself, Marvin windows and doors are built around you, and Marvin's next generation ultimate double hung window is proof positive of that. See Wisconsin's largest selection of Marvin windows and doors at your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more. Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Brillo.
Visit BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
Classical conservatism.
Contemporary style.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
A suspected Venezuelan gang member who is, surprise, surprise, not a United States citizen is in custody on an ICE detainer hold after he was accused of sexually assaulting a girl in, of all places, Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. This is very near the home of Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden, who joins us live on the phone right now. Sir, welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's always great to have you here.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. I would like to just say something here, because collectively as a nation, we've gotten away from telling the truth. And we just have to acknowledge reality for what it is. And we can start with this. Rocks are heavy, trees are made of wood, gravity's real. Harris was the border czar. She left the border open. 15 million illegal aliens have entered this country, and they're brutally kidnapping, raping, and murdering our citizens. And the other thing that we have to stop using, the word we have to stop using is suspected in cases like this. So this guy is not a suspected gang member. He is a member of a Venezuelan gang, the Trendy Aragua. And the reason we know that he is an actual member is because he has these gang tattoos. And people don't understand. That's not like getting a Harley Davidson tattoo. You know, I'm a sailor. I got tattoos. I got them around the world. I don't know how many Americans have tattoos now. A lot. But when you get a gang tattoo, that is an advertisement. That's like Walmart putting up a Walmart sign. It is a very specific tattoo, or a specific series of tattoos that say that you're a member of this gang. And if you're not a member of that gang and you get that tattoo or a series of tattoos and they catch you, they will cut them off your body while you're alive.
Yeah.
So this is not a suspected Venezuelan gang member. It's a member of a Venezuelan gang where there's approximately 5,000 members total, and over 500 of them are in this country right now.
In fact, in Colorado, a number of the Tren de Aragua gang members took over an apartment building. This was in Aurora, sparking massive national outrage. And to your point about not telling the entire truth, I will say that I was reading this from WisconsinRightNow.com, fantastic website that always strives to tell the truth. But yes, you're right. The tattoos do suggest he is not being identified positively as a gang member, but come on, he's Tren de Aragua. The Tren de Aragua gang, the exact same that took over this apartment building in Aurora, Colorado. Now you've got a member by the name of Alejandro Jose Coronel Zarate. He's 26 years old, and he apparently beat up and sexually assaulted a young girl on Thursday in Prairie du Chien.
Well, so it wasn't just a young girl, it was her mother also. So
yes, that's right. That is right.
Brutalizing a mom and a daughter, American citizens that are here in the United States of America. And let's just walk the dog on this. This guy came through the El Paso sector of the southern border, of which I've been there, and it is a train wreck. He was given a pass into the United States by the Biden administration. Hey, here's a ticket. See you in a while. He was arrested at least once, and we think multiple times, because he had warrants for his arrest prior to this incident. So look at that in totality. You have a criminal illegal alien, a member of a violent Venezuelan gang that is readily identifiable because he's got very specific tattoos on his body that could have been identified at the El Paso sector, and they could have said, get the hell out of here because you're a criminal illegal alien. He was allowed into the country by the Biden administration, where Harris is the border czar, and just free to roam around the country. He was arrested at least one time previously, we believe in Madison, which is a sanctuary city. So they just said, hey, forget about it, get out of here. They let him go, and then he winds up in Prairie du Chien, brutalizing a mom and a daughter less than a mile away from our high school, less than a half a mile away from 4 of my grandkids, and less than a mile away from my house. And that's happening again and again and again and again around the country. And it doesn't have to happen, and it should not have happened, and Harris is not being held accountable. The Democrat Party is not being held accountable for the 15 million illegal aliens that have entered this country, and God only knows how many criminal illegal aliens, readily identifiable, by the way. They're not being held accountable, and our American citizens are paying the price for this.
President Trump.
Issue.
Sorry, sir. Former President Trump has repeatedly said that Venezuela has opened up. In fact, I believe he just said this over the weekend, that Venezuela has deliberately opened up its prisons and mental asylums and just said, okay, you guys get out of here. America will take you. I don't think it's a real surprise that now we've got Tren de Aragua gang members in this country straight from the prisons of Venezuela or wherever it was that they were roaming around. And as you said, they're now free to roam about the country. You also have, of all places, Springfield, Ohio, which has seen a sudden influx. This is a city of 60,000 people, 20,000 illegal immigrants from Haiti. Now, people have sort of been laughing about, not laughing because it is very eye-opening, but it's been trendy on conservative Twitter to post funny memes about all of the cats and ducks that are suddenly disappearing from Springfield, Ohio, the clear implication being that the Haitian migrants are eating them. But look...
But Dan, again, this is not an implication. There's video and still photographs of these people carrying the waterfowl down the street. There's a body cam footage from a police officer who ropes up a lady in a driveway who was eating a cat. So we just got to start telling the truth. This is not healthy for the country. And this is from a security perspective, but let's talk about this from an economic perspective. I do everything I possibly can to make sure that Social Security is a viable program because our seniors built this country. And I've signed on to the bill to make sure that Social Security benefits are not taxed. I want to make sure that program is solvent so that our seniors can live, not just get by. I want them to be able to thrive and live in dignity. Harris wants to put the 15 million illegal aliens that she let into this country on Social Security. That's going to decimate this system. Oh, sorry, that's my voting buzz. I'm in my office. So Harris wants to put 15 million illegal aliens on the Social Security system, and that's going to destroy it for our seniors.
Well, and we're also
go ahead.
We're also seeing, sir. Look at what is one of the biggest complaints of people. The price of housing has gone up exponentially. There's just no availability of housing. You wouldn't think that has anything to do with 15 million new people coming into the country in the span of 3.5 years, all of whom need a place to live. So yes, there's no available housing. We've got how many different hotels in New York City and Chicago turned into illegal immigrant housing facilities. So the price of housing is going up. Social Security might be fiscally insolvent far earlier than we thought. You've also got 15 million new people now with government Visa cards purchasing essentials like food and that sort of thing, also driving up the prices of everything. So there's a massive economic impact. You talked about the security impact. You have also got the impact on social services, government budgets. You've had the mayors of Chicago and New York basically begging Texas and Florida, please stop sending all of these illegals. We can't handle our police departments, our fire departments, our hospitals. We just can't handle them. Well, if the biggest cities in the world, in the United States, I should say, can't handle them, New York, one of the biggest cities in the entire world, what chance does a city like Prairie du Chien or Aurora, Colorado or Springfield, Ohio have?
Yeah, none is the answer. I should have started off with this, man. Our police department in Prairie du Chien is doing an incredible job. We're going to do a thing later with Kyle, who's our chief of police down there. So without our police officers in Prairie du Chien, this person would still be out and about, committing more of these horrible crimes. So I really want to compliment the men and women of law enforcement for doing the best they can under the most horrible circumstances. And let's remember, here's another thing. Harris was at the forefront of the defund the police movement. So you can't make this right. Letting in 15 million illegal aliens, of which we don't know how many thousands are actual gang members or terrorists, that let them into the country, and they have been kidnapping, raping, and murdering our citizens, and now eating people's pets, literally. Destroying the economic base for the United States, going to wreck Social Security for our seniors and those most vulnerable, and this all was preventable. And people are signing up now in droves, remarkably, to vote for Harris for president again. She is responsible for these things. So we got to start telling the truth. The Biden-Harris administration has been disastrous for the United States across the board, from everything from the economy to security. We can't make it right. And we have to understand that, in fact, some people do want to go back. They want to go back to economic prosperity. Mm-hmm. They want to go back to a secure border. They want to go back to a place where they're not worried about their kids walking to school. They want to go back to a place where their children are educated and not indoctrinated. And how that's going to happen is we re-elect President Trump. That's the only way this is going to happen. So I just really want people to objectively look at what has taken place over the last 3 years and say, we are much worse off than we were 3 years ago, and then go to the ballot box and vote.
He is Wisconsin Congressman Derek Van Orden. I would strongly encourage, if you are in his district, vote for him as well. Sir, what's your campaign website? People can learn more, donate, whatever.
It's VanOrdenForCongress.com.
VanOrdenForCongress.com is the website. Yes, sir, we really do appreciate you weighing in on this. Thank you for reaching out over the weekend and wanting to weigh in and draw attention to what's going on.
You're welcome, Dan, and fight the good fight. And I just ask that God bless you and your family and all of your listeners and their families also. And we can get through this.
Yes, we certainly can, sir. God bless you and yours as well. I am Dan O'Donnell. We'll be back. Coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we will get you an update on the status of Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Dan O'Donnell Show. We're coming right back.
Make American Family Field your space to grow relationships with clients, employees, and prospects with Brewers season memberships for the 2025 season. Your corporate season membership with the Brewers grants exclusive discounts on premium meeting spaces, invitations to networking events, and one-of-a-kind opportunities to grow your business at the ballpark. Learn more about Brewers season memberships for businesses at brewers.com/ticket plans or call 414-902-HITS.
Abby from Abby Home here. Is your insurance company questioning your roof's life? Thinking it may be time to replace it? Get a roof from Abby Home. It's the last roof you'll ever have to put on. Our Golden Pledge warranty gets you a 50-year non-prorated warranty and 25-year workmanship warranty. Right now, get our lowest prices of the year with our 14-year anniversary sale. Go to myabbyhome.com for more. If somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Do you love your landscaping? Do you appreciate the perfect blend of plants, stone, and wood that embraces your home? Do you delight in sitting on your patio with a cool drink, taking in the beauty of your backyard? If you answer yes, then we have a lot in common. Now, one more question. Does all of this beauty disappear when the sun goes down? Since 1994, the experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services have been creating beautiful landscaping that can and should be enjoyed even after dark. If the beauty and pleasure of your landscaping disappears when the sun goes down, you should consider a fully automatic landscape lighting system. The experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services are gifted at creating deliciously soft, subtle nighttime scenes. To schedule a meeting with one of our lighting designers, please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Biden is dead set to get as much done as possible before leaving office. That should frighten every American. Why? Because nearly $1 trillion of infrastructure and pandemic funds have yet to be spent. When Biden pushes these funds out, we could see another prolonged inflation surge, just like during COVID. And I'm sure you remember the terrible effects that high prices had on most Americans. Hi, Donald Trump Jr. here, letting you know that a surge in prices can be beaten. A gold IRA from Birch Gold Group is the ultimate inflation hedge in uncertain times. To see how to protect your IRA or 401k, get your free info kit on gold by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold makes it seamless to roll over your retirement account while preserving your tax advantage status. Don't wait for Biden's spending spree to tank the dollar further. Protect your financial future now. Text the word PROTECT to the number 989898 for your free info kit from Birch Gold.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Look, as much as I'd like to blame the NFL and blame the turf for Jordan Love's injury, that wasn't an injury caused by turf. It was an injury caused by massive men crashing into Jordan Love and his knee and ankle bending awkwardly. Dan O'Donnell's show returns Friday night. Packers in their season opener in Sao Paulo. Was it, or Rio de Janeiro? It was Sao Paulo, right? Yeah, it was Sao Paulo. Okay. For some reason, I had a moment of doubt. Yes, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Packers fall to the Philadelphia Eagles. But the far bigger loss was, of course, Jordan Jaden Reed had a massive game. Jordan Love had a sprained MCL, fortunately avoiding serious injury to the knee. And can we stop with the amateur NFL physicians? I know a lot of them are actual doctors. You have not treated. What is the old saying in medicine? First you meet, then you treat. All of the diagnoses saying it's almost certain that he tore his ACL and MCL. I was up way later than I should have been on Friday night reading all of it because I'm thinking, oh boy, this season is over before it even began. Jordan Love's out. Our backup quarterback is Malik Willis. Maybe they'll sign the Tana Thrill, former Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill, for a couple of weeks. This might be a rough year, and it might be a rough patch. Packers don't have the easiest schedule this season, and it is entirely possible with the way that Detroit and, well, Chicago didn't look spectacular, but I'll tell you what, their defense when they were playing the Titans absolutely did. Caleb Williams is going to get better. I'm not telling you he's going to be the savior of the Chicago Bears franchise, but let's face it, he couldn't look any worse than he did yesterday. 64 net passing yards, 93 was his stat line, but he took a couple of massive sacks. The Packers could very easily find themselves, when Jordan Love comes back by about week 6 or 7, in a big hole behind the Detroit Lions or even potentially the Bears and Vikings. I think clearly the Lions are still the class of this division. Packers with Jordan Love look very, very good. That was a battle with the Philadelphia Eagles. And without Love, it's going to be potentially a rough couple of weeks. But all of these amateur physicians, and admittedly, when I saw the close-up video of the knee just sort of popping and looking like it dislocated, my immediate concern, I was talking with a friend of mine just Thursday night about what he said when his knee shred. We were watching a volleyball game, and unfortunately one of the athletes looked like her knee was just, she suffered a bad injury and had to be carted off the field. It was bad. And he was saying when he was much, much younger and playing basketball, his knee dislocated. He tore his ACL and MCL. So this is fresh in my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, season might be over. Fortunately, the Packers did get lucky. They're playing one of the best teams in the NFL in the Philadelphia Eagles, who got a whole lot better with the free agent signing of Saquon Barkley, who just ran all over the Packers. This is a good early litmus test for how good this team is. I've got no real concerns if, and this is a big if, Jordan Love comes back healthy. I think the Packers can make another playoff run. I think they are one of the best teams in the NFC. Again, football is almost all about who stays the healthiest. Dan O'Donnell show done for today. Have no fear, though. We are back same time, 9:06 tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.